Trigger warning. You are now about to witness people talking. This is Payday Nasty. Payday Nasty.
It's Payday A.J. and Nasty Nate coming at you from the Bull City, Durham, North Carolina.
Get nasty with it.
What's happening?
Man, it took us a minute because we had an ice storm.
Yep.
Although it was nothing like what they made it sound like it was going to be, which is a good thing. Because, I mean, you know, people here talk about like, oh, back in 2000, there was a big ice storm, go weeks without power. I was concerned.
Yeah, we lived through an ice storm.
Oh, down in the Mississippi Delta back in 94 or whatever it was.
Ice storm in 94.
Man, that thing was nasty. We went a couple weeks without power down there.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, I've been through it, and I don't want to go through it ever again. And so I was glad not to. I can say that much.
No power outage in my neck of the woods.
No, we didn't even have the power blink, which was great.
Yeah.
The kids have been home from school, which is a bit of a mess because then you still got to work, but then you got kids home and their schedules are all jacked up. But nothing like what people have dealt with. I mean, like over in Nashville, the middle of Tennessee, all through the middle of the country.
Tennessee got rocked.
Yeah, man, rough stuff.
Yeah.
I'm glad. You know, at one point they were calling for us to get 18 inches of snow. And I was just like, man, I don't know what 18 inches of snow looks like. Because, I mean, you don't know what it looks like if you don't live somewhere that gets serious snow, right? Like you have to be prepared for that. And we're not.
Not at all.
There is no preparation for that. But you know, I'm so bougie, man. I didn't even want to like the day before, the 2 days before, I didn't want to take my truck out. You get that salt, you get that salt off the road.
It's all over my truck now.
Nah, man. Yeah. I was like, I'll just stay, like, you know, take my daughter's car out and get it all nasty. I'm like, I ain't touching mine. But so we got lucky and it all worked out. But the fact that the word ice is trending across so many stories across this time. I mean, because like we haven't even done a story and it's just sitting back and watching all this because we haven't done a show, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's gotten crazy. So before we get too deep into it, you know, we got to always want to keep it as light as we can.
Fools on parade.
So first off, I gotta say my first fool. Oh, I hit the wrong thing. There it is. Boom. My first fool is going to be 2026 because we're not even through with January. And I mean, we're talking about everything from the ice debacles that we'll go over, having killed 2 people now. Greenland, the whole Greenland, whatever you want to call that. I don't even know what that was. I don't even know if it still exists. Venezuela. I don't know what that was. I don't know how it still is. It's still January. 2026 starting off
hot,
rough. And so my first fool is the year 2026. I
can get down with that one.
It's shaping up to be a long one.
Yeah.
I guess I would say that'd be my best one. My next one, I don't know if you saw this story about the Beckhams, Victoria Beckham. There's been this whole thing, like her son wrote a whole thing. Have you seen this?
No.
Her son, Victoria, and what's his name? The soccer player. The reason we know this,
David
Beckham.
Yeah, okay.
Right. Their kid, Brooklyn Beckham, wrote some sort of like op-ed, just like I don't even fool with my parents no more. Like bump that noise. Oh. But then all this weird stuff started coming out about this dude's wedding, I guess like last year or something, and how his mama danced all up on him. Victoria Beckham danced all up on him and it got awkward and a bunch of people were uncomfortable. And there's a lot of debate about it, but it sounds like some weird junk went down. Even to the extent that I saw some dude out there posted a video. He's like, oh, well, that ain't nothing. You know, like, look at what my mama did at my wedding. And this dude at the wedding, it was not him, but it was some friend of his, like picked his mama up and was just shaking her and just throwing down. And then everybody on the internet's like, that's not cool, man.
Not at all.
Not cool. Y'all some fools. Don't act a fool at the wedding.
No.
That's all I'm saying. And if you're famous, don't go rubbing up on your kids in a weird way. I mean, they almost made it sound like she gave the dude a lap dance, which it doesn't, it might be too much because I haven't seen the video, but.
And so now because of this is why he doesn't have anything to do with his parents anymore?
It's a part of it, that's apparently. Like where it's just like, y'all messing with me too much.
Yeah.
So next up, look.
Oh, your girl.
Well, yeah, she's multiple fools, okay? But one on a simple level, because apparently as, you know, Homeland Security, she also has FEMA.
Yeah.
Now they went out there with this ice storm coming in and told FEMA, avoid using the word ice, so that there's no confusion about what's going on the deportation side.
I mean, you do have to make
A distinction?
You do have to make the distinction, yes.
But here's the thing is which side deserves to use ice more?
Well,
weather? Like, because you know, we're not going to start calling it frozen water. Okay. We got, you know, like maybe you should change the name of your other stuff. Tell them to avoid using it. Don't tell the weather people you can't say the word ice. That is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. I mean, you know what I mean?
But yeah, so now you got me thinking about it. You could like, there's an ice storm coming.
Yeah. And now you're like, I don't know what that means, you know?
Yeah, different connotations.
It's foolish.
2026, man.
It's so damn foolish.
Yeah,
because again, ice deserves its own place. It is an ice storm. Gosh darn it, you can't tell
always
them
been that.
Avoid using this word. Yeah. You need to stop using the word ice and maybe find something else. You know, call them goons. You know, call them thugs.
Gestapo.
Yeah, Gestapo. Oh, yeah. Call them your gang. Call them what they are because ice is ice. You know, and so we need, you know, taking it back. Ice stays where it is. Don't take that away from frozen water. So this is just silly, but after, and it's also sad because of how people act. After the shooting of Renee Good, somewhere online it started trending and haters gonna post, and they referred to her and others like her as affluent white female urban liberals. Awful.
Oh man.
Awful. Came up with an acronym of awful. Affluent white female urban liberal. Y'all need to stop now. That's foolish. That's foolish out there. What, man? White women catch a lot of hell that people just kind of, you know, move past it and stuff. It's like, man, you can't do that. I mean, I even saw after she was killed, there was some person, I think they're running for office, maybe here in North Carolina, I think it was. And they wrote like a limerick making fun of her. Basically like, you know, some lady did something dumb and now her day ended early type stuff. And it's like, what are you doing, man? People are dying. Foolish. Stay off the internet. Stay off the internet. Yeah. Don't act that way. Don't act that way. It is kind of funny though to just to go from Karen to awful. They just ain't even playing.
But to your point though, white women do catch a lot of hell.
They do.
I mean, you know, the whole Karen phenomenon.
Well, now they've got another name for them. I can't even remember what it is. They came up with another one. They just moved on from Karen because it's not, you know, fresh anymore. So now you got another one. Then you got this person referring to affluent white female urban liberal. Awful. Like. Yeah, you're so smart. That was such a genius thing to come up with. No. So speaking of white women, this one, I don't know if you remember Kirsten Sinema. She was a U.S. I think senator. I don't think she was in the House. She was a senator from Arizona, and she famously basically wouldn't vote along with Democrats. Maybe even going back into the Obama thing, she might have been one of the holdouts on Obamacare or something. I can't remember, but she ended up becoming an independent. So she's a former Democrat and a former senator. But now it comes out that while she was doing whatever she does, she had an affair with one of her security guards and ruined his 14-year marriage. And not alone. I mean, he was involved as well. Yeah. But now his ex-wife is suing her because wherever the laws are where they are, you could be sued for messing up somebody's marriage. And she's now catching a lawsuit. Like, come on now. Like, what you doing? I do like, I don't know why, just because of the word, just because it's funny. I always called her Cinema Buns. But, you know, she liked to get dressed up. I mean, you see the picture. She's flamboyant. And the name is just too easy for me. So I apologize. But... don't be a fool. Don't be a fool. Don't go out there having affairs with people on your staff. You know, at least like try
to her. If I was going to make a defense for her too, but apparently that's what people do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, you grow up,
man or woman, you know,
you grow up, you watch The Bodyguard, you know, and you're like, oh, that's hot. Like have a relationship with my security. Okay. See how secure you are when you get sued. This is sad and funny at the same time. I can't help but to get into this. So these actresses, Shanna Moakler and Claudia Jordan, we're doing a podcast or something and got to talking about sleazy Hollywood people. And both of them independently shared stories about how they were invited to Steven Seagal's house for a script.
Don't go.
And they went. And then Steven Seagal's like, oh, you need a massage. You need this. He get doing, ain't no script. Ain't no movie. But what got me about it is I was like, how sad is that? Because there are, you know, during the Me Too movement, remember Harvey Weinstein, right?
Right.
He was dangling Oscar level roles, right? So he was pulling people in under some trickery. When Steven Seagal says, I got a script, what the fuck are we talking about? Like, so some people are going out there for an Oscar and getting caught up in a bad situation. Was this $10,000?
Or, you know, you're going to be on camera. You're going to be in a movie.
Well, $10,000,
even if it was, you know,
yeah. Yeah, because he got cameras set up. But like, I just felt like it's so crazy. Like B-rate actresses catch B-rate abuse.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, isn't that jacked up? I don't even know if I would tell people.
But man, you know, everybody's out there just trying to make it. You figure if I get on screen one time, then I hit, then
They're like, were you ever hit on by a Hollywood mogul? And they're like, well,
Steven Seagal.
Not a mogul, but Steven Seagal. Like, how sad is that, man? Don't go to Steven Seagal's house. I wouldn't go to Steven Seagal's house. I'd be like, oh, he might touch me.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to get in that situation. He knows martial arts. Apparently, he can just swing his pinky and you flip over 3 times, according to all the videos he shows. This is hilarious, and we'll get into it a little bit more later. Have you seen this stuff about this meme about Amelia?
No.
So this is trending. This got big. This has gotten real big. It went from 500 memes a day to like 10,000 hits a day all over the internet.
It's got to be AI. That looks AI.
No, that is. But here's the deal. The UK government, which by the way has been tripping over the last few years when it comes to like speech and how people talk online, they've gotten a little weird. But they went and helped to fund a video game for teenagers, right? To teach them how to avoid online extremism. And one of the characters in it was Amelia. Now, Amelia is basically a purple-haired goth girl who likes England and loves British culture and doesn't like immigration.
Oh, man.
And also apparently maybe not the LGBTQ community. But what's hilarious about this is like, so
this is all hilarious, right?
So you created a video game to try to teach these folks not to do it. And folks were like, I like her, and pumped her up and threw her out on the internet. Now she's a thing. And again, I'll show you some more of her later. I got a whole video of her because they went into AI and was like, here's who she is. Now show us who that would be. And they have a whole video. But it's like, it reminded me of when we were talking about book banning. Yeah. And you were like, well, if you wanted to hide a book,
right,
put it in the library.
That's right.
And it's like, if you want people to act a way, tell them not to if you're the government.
That's right.
I mean, because that's propaganda. You can't do that. Like if you're the British government basically telling somebody, hey, if somebody online tells you that British culture is important, they're an extremist, there is a point where these youngsters are going to be like, you're crazy, you know? And that's what they did. That's what they did. You mess around, you find out. You can't do that. You can't go and tell the youngsters what to think and not think they're going to laugh at you and come back at you. A bunch of government goons trying to come up with some propaganda, and you failed. You failed. Amelia is now popular. How about that? So your boy Kanye, he done came out. He's the last of my fools here, but he done came out and now is saying that, you remember when he first got famous, his first song, Through the Wire, that blew up. And the song was about him, you know, being in a car crash and having his jaw wired up and all this. He now claims that all this Nazi stuff and all this is because he had a brain injury
bumped his head.
From the crash 25 years ago. Now, this is sort of, to me, a new out. You know, a lot of times people go to therapy. They say, I got a problem. They do this.
Oh, but this happens. Traumatic brain injury.
It does, but man,
there's science behind this.
How many people become Nazis because of traumatic brain injury?
I haven't looked into the cases exactly. I don't know what the count is.
I've seen, I mean, you know, because there's a lot of Nazis. You can't tell me they all got bumped on their head.
No.
That's not an excuse, man. I mean, because if it's that bad, you shouldn't be talking, man. Like something's really wrong with you and we shouldn't be listening to you, which I've been saying for a long time, since the first time I ever heard him speak.
But man, that video you showed me, where he's riding around on the in the cart. Yeah,
he had like a 3-wheeler, 4-wheeler crazy vehicle with Nazi junk going on.
Yeah, man, that one was too much. But that was when everybody told him, it's like, man, you lost.
That required planning and thought. And then
he made a video.
And he does a song where he's screaming Hail Hitler the whole time. It's like, dude, you can't tell me that because of a car crash 25 years ago, that's why we had to watch the fall of this man. Get the hell out of here, bro. Those are fools. That's all I'm saying. I know it's not a good list. It's not an exhaustive list, but these fools are foolish. These fools are foolish. Trying to get back on the bike, man.
I like January. I like January.
Yeah, I'm trying to get back on the bike, you know, because we missed an episode and the year's just been. All right, let's get into this.
It's been a lot. Damn pedophile.
Fascists suck.
Yay, protests.
Yeah, politics is nasty business.
So the main story of the week and what I really wanted to get into was this Alex Peretti shooting. And from talking to you, it sounds like you haven't really.
Nah, I don't know that much about it. You're going to be enlightening me.
Well, I mean, you know enough. I mean, you know.
I know he got shot. That's about the extent.
He got executed or murdered. Depends on some of the nuance. And that's what we'll get into.
Whose side you're on, maybe?
Yeah, no. There's no sides here. This thing is you know, because I really am. I try my best to say, well, I could see where someone sees something this way or that way. There's no seeing this any other way. I mean, if you're an American if you understand what it means to be free, to be a citizen, to walk the streets, this is garbage, what just happened to this man. And so, you know, for people, all you got to understand is timeline here. This dude is out there on the street. Apparently, and he lives in this area. He's an ICU nurse for the Veterans Administration. And the ICE folks come in, try to get somebody. And that person runs into a donut shop. Folks in donut shop, because it's Minneapolis, folks in donut shop lock the doors. Don't let ICE get their guy. Now, ICE is mad. And him and some other people are out on the street filming them, you know, because that's what's happening in Minneapolis. You know that's happening, right? So if you're ICE and you go out there, you know when they see you, they're going to film you, okay? Yeah. Which is enough reason to say, hey,
let's chill out.
Let's act the way like professionals. Like we're getting paid to do this, not like it's our hobby to just go and lynch people in the streets, right? And so I guess for whatever reason, they didn't like the way these folks were, you know, agitating them and couldn't deal with it, you know, got fragile. And then they mushed this woman, shoved this woman to the ground and maced her. Just boom, woman hits the dirt. So Mr. Peretti steps right there. He's right next to the woman. He steps in between the officer and the woman, holds his hand up while he's holding his phone. He's not a threat. So they spray him, shove him down on the woman. Then like 5 of them jump him, start dragging him off the woman. And at this point, I'm thinking, you know, it's like you're watching this and saying, so did you say out loud, we're arresting you? Did you pull out your cuffs or your zip ties, whatever it is you have? I didn't see none of that. They just pulled him off, jumped on his back, start whooping him. There's one dude at the front that is just digging under the pile and just hitting him in the face. They're literally whooping this man's ass in the street. Turns out he has a concealed carry license. He has a gun in the back of his pants in his band. Maybe he had a holster. It's hard to tell, but it's at the very back. It means nothing because he didn't do nothing. He didn't grab the gun. He didn't do nothing. And then they see the gun eventually because they're whooping his ass so bad and they pull his shirt up. So then one of them, I guess, yells gun. They pull his gun out. You can watch it clear as day. They pull it away from him, disarm him, even though he wasn't holding the weapon. And the guy who grabs the gun runs away. And then when they hear gun, it was almost like they had the conversation ahead of time. Hey, if any of these folks ever have a gun, well, that's a license to kill. So all of them just step off the pile from whooping his ass. He's on his knees doing nothing. They unleashed 10 shots into him. Apparently 2 officers, according to DHS, you know, and they murdered him. And now, so that's the story. There's no other details. You can dig in and be like, well, this should have happened, that shouldn't happen. But then after that, almost immediately, Kristi Noem comes out. And Kristi Noem refers to him as domestic terrorist. Start
calling him names.
Says he went there with his gun intending to kill people.
Right. And so this is where you corrected me earlier when we were talking about it warming up for the show. And I was like, well, who goes to a protest with a gun? That's going to be dangerous. And you were like, he didn't go nowhere.
He didn't go to a protest. He lives around there. Yeah. This happened in the street and he's there.
And that's not the story from the like the news that's coming in.
They make it sound like he went there to do something.
Yeah, exactly.
And besides, even if he did go there, you know, because then Trump also said, well, you don't go in with a gun. He's outside on the street. Yeah. What do you mean go in? Yeah. Where did they go?
Well, and he's in his neighborhood. That's the point. That's the other thing that they don't.
And is there anything more American than being able to carry a gun?
Right.
Because remember, back when all the George Floyd stuff was happening, Kyle Rittenhouse, for instance, the dude who killed people, there were folks along with him.
Killed people.
They were out there with rifles, AR style.
And he did show up at a protest with a gun.
AR style rifles with slings, just standing on the street because that's my right. I can do that.
He's the militia, right? He's the militia protecting the United States.
I can do whatever, right? And everybody supported him on the right. All these folks said he has a right to do that.
That's a good analogy. I like that.
So here comes this guy.
Who is in his neighborhood.
And it has a concealed carry license, is legally carrying a weapon and doesn't even brandish it.
No.
And they start to try to make this as an excuse for killing him.
And so he's a terrorist, but your boy
is not.
And
so think about that, though. When the right, the folks who claim to support gun rights, who even invested more money so that the DOJ would have a bigger department to protect people's gun rights just a few months ago.
Yeah.
Are now trying to denigrate this man because he was exercising his gun rights. And
in his neighborhood.
And here's what I'm going to tell you. From the time they jumped him and started whooping his ass, we're not trying to arrest him. They never looked like they were trying to. Because, you know, NYPD encounters people with guns all the time. Police encounter people with guns all the time.
There's protocol for this, I would imagine.
They don't just shoot them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
They don't just start
wailing on them and beating them up. I mean, you know, 5 people can't put somebody's hands behind their back. Then what are they doing? They're whooping his ass is what they're doing. At that point, in my opinion, if he had have grabbed his gun and shot them, I would be making the argument right now that he's in the right.
Self-defense.
Because they did not do anything legal.
Right.
You do not have a legal right to beat somebody's ass in the street. Do you have a warrant? Are you telling me what crime he committed? There was
because what country are we in?
The United States of fucking America.
Right.
He did not commit a crime. He was a free individual out on the street. And when he saw a woman get hurt, he simply stood in between and put his hand up.
And this is a domestic terrorist.
Yeah. And then you're going to call him a domestic terrorist and he gets his ass beat. Now, luckily, because of the video. If it wasn't for the video, we would get all kinds of stories. But because of the video, you do have people from the right starting to reel some of this back in. Tom Tillis, North Carolina. He came out and he said, look, Kristi Noem needs to be gone right now. Stephen Miller came out and said some of that same stuff about being a domestic terrorist because he's just a barking dog for the administration. Yep. You know how he is. And all this immigration stuff is sort of under his belt. You know, he's a cheerleader for all this.
Right.
He came out talking all that crazy stuff. And Tom Tillis said neither one of them should be in D.C. Neither one of them should have jobs. They should be gone right now. And he pointed out an important thing, that in polling and with the American people and going back to the Trump election, immigration is their thing. They're winning on this. People want to see them deport people. They want to see a better immigration policy. And these fools have twisted it up and allowed so much chaos and done it so horribly that they're losing on their most winning topic.
Yeah.
Isn't that messed up?
Isn't that messed up?
Now, my question is, will we see these people be charged? I mean, you got to figure something out.
What are they on now? Administrative leave, I think.
Yeah, administrative leave. But here's the thing is, because for me, there's 2 things. Either they murdered him, right?
Which the videos kind of.
Or the state executed him. The federal government executed him. So either, you know, if I was a family member, am I suing the federal government?
Absolutely.
Or am I suing the 2 officers who did? That's my only question.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who am I suing?
And I don't know. You know, give me the lawyers and let them figure all that out.
Well, if I want the money, I'm going for the federal government, right?
I guess so, right? Yeah. But if you want the punishment and you want the justice, you got to see these dudes who shot him go down.
Well,
right?
they got to get tried. If I'm the family, I want them both.
And
I want them.
True.
I want them brought up on charges,
and the federal government paying me for my
I want the federal government paying me because they put them there.
Now, it is a question there, though, of will we ever see something like that? Because you think about it, I in my lifetime, I don't remember federal agents being in this kind of situation. Yeah. You know, we've seen local police and you've seen law enforcement do something wrong, and then these big trials, just like with George Floyd, right? Just like with Rodney King, right? You know, things like that. We've seen.
What's the girl's name that died in Atlanta when she got shot in the house?
Oh,
golly, I can't.
If you hadn't said it, I would know her name. Say her name, Breonna.
Yeah. Stewart.
No, that's a basketball player. Breonna something. Yeah. But I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's another.
It is. And you want to see these people on trial, and we know that it can lead to a crazy event. And that's what I mean about how significant this is if we do get to that point where people are on trial, we're going to be living this out for a minute. This is not just a singular event. Yeah. And it has had a ripple effect, obviously.
And so another reason I would be angry, if it's me and I'm putting myself in their shoes, so for my family member, he's a cousin, you know, I have a second cousin. I don't really care. But for that to happen, for me to see the video and then to have representatives of the federal government calling them a domestic terrorist, man, I'm mad.
When he didn't do anything.
Man, I'm mad, man. I want.
I think, and that's
I want justice.
Well, and that's what I mean when it comes to justice. You have to understand, or I think people skip over this a lot, is they don't go back to the foundation of what the United States was founded as. And when you look at the Bill of Rights, it reminds you that this was not a government written on behalf of a government. It was a government created on behalf of the people. Everything in the Bill of Rights is what the government can't do. And people miss out on that. Being American, you know, it means this, it means this, it means that. It means we don't believe in some big, powerful government because we know it leads to tyranny.
Yeah.
And when you start sending federal officers across the country, running roughshod over people, treating them however they want, it looks an awful lot like tyranny. Yeah. You say you're going to arrest people.
And to reemphasize your point, for me to paraphrase in my own words, it's like all of the documents that made the United States, their number one concern, their primary concern was coming out from underneath tyranny.
Underneath tyranny.
And they didn't want to see it again.
And we're talking about individual freedom. And when you can't go out on the street and have a gun on you that you ain't even using, and someone used that as an excuse to kill you, that's tyranny. That we're going against everything. And not only that, they didn't have
these are supposed to be big supporters of the Second Amendment. And because this guy was following the Second Amendment,
now they're making an excuse why they can.
They called him a domestic terrorist.
And that's jacked up. And people need to stand up on all sides, and some are, and recognize just how messed up this is. Because if the government can show up and just say, well, you had a gun, that means we can kill you. Man, we've leapt over a whole lot of steps of what it means to be an American. Yeah. That's not freedom. You know what I mean? It's un-American, and it's the exact opposite. And so for everything that's happened in the Trump administration where people perhaps overreact, this is one where I'm like, okay,
this is it.
This is it. That's a big one right there. They just killed a man in the street. Where's the justice going to happen? Because that's not that.
And they did it.
They did it.
And they know they did it because they're calling him names.
And then had the nerve to not even think about their own language and start jumping on him for having a gun. Yeah. Like, you're the ones who say it's okay to have a gun. Now, don't get me wrong, there's hypocrisy everywhere. That, I saw where the ladies on The View suddenly became gun rights advocates. They're like, well, he has a legal right to have a gun. I'm like, y'all ain't never said that in your whole life. And what's worse, Joy Behar had the nerve to say, he's an amazing person. This is the type of guy you'd want your daughter to date and marry. Now, if he was walking around with a gun on him all the time, you lying.
Yeah, 3 weeks ago, she wouldn't have said that.
Yeah, you wouldn't have said, you lying. Like, what if he shows up at your house and he always got a gun on his belt? I don't like that.
I'll be a little uncomfortable.
Okay, then. All of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? So let's not.
Yeah, but this is where it gets so messy, right?
But we don't have to do that. Yeah. I don't care if he was a nurse, and I don't care if he worked for the VA.
Right.
I mean, you could have told me he was homeless. Yeah. I don't care. If he had a concealed carry license and he didn't do nothing wrong and they didn't have a warrant for him and they never even tried to arrest him, they just whooped his ass.
Well, it sounds like the irony of it is what's so interesting, because it sounds like this guy could have been like
a conservative type dude.
Homeboys with these ICE guys.
He could have otherwise if it weren't for the fact that they were harassing people
and beating his ass and shooting them.
Yeah, well, and there is some story. He had a run-in with them a couple of weeks ago where they came down there, was doing some stuff. He was on the scene and they tackled him. Broke one of his ribs. Ooh. Now, for perspective, that means this dude's got a broken rib while they're whooping his ass, and he still didn't reach for his gun. I mean, let's just be real here, because I've watched the super slow-mo. I mean, I'm telling you, you can zoom in. I've gone frame by frame. This man never reached for his gun. He didn't have an opportunity to. I mean, because I think he should have. When they was whooping his ass, have been like, y'all need to get up off me. Yeah. That's why I have a gun, right? Like, you can't whoop my ass. Tell me you're arresting me. I mean, it seems like what's happened is they've sent these dudes out there in the streets with no training, because they don't know how to arrest people, clearly. And then they haven't even explained to them, like, if somebody yells something at you, that's not how that works. You don't get to be angry.
No.
Your job is to make sure, because you carry a gun, fool. So you don't get to get emotional. You don't get to just react. You don't get to be like, oh, I get to do whatever I want. No, it's the opposite. You're held to a higher standard, or else we shouldn't be giving you a government-issued weapon in a bag.
Yeah. So in the times we live in, people throw words out all the time. You're like, fascist. But like, what is a paramilitary force for your team look like?
Mm-hmm. In this case, it looks an awful lot like the way the Republicans are using the federal government.
Yeah.
Or at least the Trump administration.
It looks like,
I shouldn't say Republicans, because a lot of Republicans are pushing back.
It looks like ICE is a paramilitary organization for Trump.
Well, and not only that, it looks like
I think that's illegal.
It looks more like they have a legal loophole to go after something, but he wants it to be in the news for political reasons. Mm-hmm. And what does that get you? Right? Like, oh, we're going to train people real fast, so we're not training them properly. We're going to up the budget of ICE to where it's like 3 times that of NASA.
I'd say this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm getting at right here. It's like, so you have an untrained, loyal, like what do you have to be to get into this thing?
Yeah. Oh, apparently you can just show up.
That's right.
I think they
I'm for you.
Well, I think they had $50,000 signing bonuses even, because they were recruiting when the federal government wasn't hiring anybody else.
And so you have no police training, maybe some military,
minimal,
maybe some military training, because that's what your background
or
is. Backyard
training. Who knows?
But you're able to show up, and all you have to do is be like, yeah, whatever he says, I'm gonna do.
All I know is from what I've seen,
and that does not sound good.
They don't look like professionals. Nothing professional about it. When they go to arrest people, it looks like they suck at it.
Yeah.
I mean, because I've seen police You get a hold of a wrist, you move someone's hands behind their back. You tell them, first of all, I'm arresting you. Stop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't just start whooping their ass. You don't just jump on somebody.
Well, yeah.
It's just not how it works.
You can see all the kind of legal ramifications because if they resist after you told them that they're being arrested, then
that's one thing.
That's a charge.
But if you jump and start beating them up and they're on their hands and knees and you call that resisting,
there's no charge there.
You call it resisting. What are they resisting? Because you haven't even told them you're arresting them.
What they were doing.
Are they resisting an ass whooping? Because that's a natural reaction for everybody. And
a right.
And honestly, he just had his hands on the ground, so it's really hard to say he was resisting.
Yeah.
I guess he didn't lay down, so if someone's being an asshole and wants to be, well, you should just lay down. Well, okay, but if 5 people start whooping your ass, you might not have time to think about exactly the right thing to do. They didn't say freeze. They didn't say put your hands behind your back.
We've come a long ways from stand your ground. I know stand your ground's down in Florida, but
Oh, there's other states with stand your ground law.
Yeah, we've come a long way from that.
Yeah, all of a sudden that's
that's gone.
And again, like
now you stand your ground now, you're a domestic terrorist.
It depends on what side you're on. And that's the sad part. That's the sad part.
Yeah.
And that's why, I've been having this discussion with you for a long time where people start telling you because. And I'm like, it's bullshit. If you tell me you're on this side, I know what you're going to say. And if you tell me you're on this side, I know what you're going to say. And it takes good people to say, no, I have my principles and they ain't about what side it happened to. And it's hard for people to stick to that.
Yeah.
And we, again, I like seeing Tom Tillis speak up. Stephen Miller, who has never backed down from anything, reeled back like half of his statement. Like, oh, maybe somebody did something wrong. Yeah. Like, oh, you think?
Because politically I'm on the opposite side of the aisle from Tom Tillis. He's never heard of me, but I've got a lot more respect from Tom Tillis now.
Well, he also decided to leave government because Trump
and that's another one of those things. It's like it's a man with principle, man.
Yeah, he was like, fine, then I'll just leave. Yeah. And that's what I mean. There are people who I've always said, look, just because you're a Republican doesn't mean I hate you. Just because we disagree about some, how the law should be carried out here and there. But this MAGA stuff and this Trump stuff kind of moves into a different realm. When you start just attaching to that and you won't let go, I can't listen to you anymore because it's like, so all of your principles are gone. Now a person with a gun ain't protected, right? But if it was your person with a gun, they are protected. I mean, you mean tell me that apparently the police on January 6th should just shot every one of them. Should have shot every one of them rioters. If it's that,
protesters, whatever they want to call them.
Agitators. I mean, they were threatening people. They were breaking down doors and windows. Is that not violent?
They ran through Congress.
They went past police when police said, don't come past here.
They were in a federal building.
Yeah, so don't tell me that they were just, taking a walk and they were peaceful. But this guy who stood between a man beating up a woman holding his phone deserves to be shot.
This is a good comparison. So January 6th versus our man Peretti. So if you had to pick which were domestic terrorist.
Yeah.
And you had to call out, you were like, hey, this group or this one individual was a domestic terrorist. This was a peaceful protester.
Well, and then for me, though, I wouldn't even use the word terrorist for any of it because.
But if you had, since the word's being thrown around.
Terrorism is a subnational group that attacks civilians for political influence.
Well, it's not my word of choice.
No, I know. All these people overuse this word.
Yeah.
And so when it's the government doing it, you can't really call it terrorism because it's not a subnational group. That's your actual government. That's tyranny. That's not terrorism. That's tyranny is what that is. You need to be clear about it. And when it's civilians out in the street who aren't militarized and aren't carrying out attacks, then it's hard to call them a terrorist. They're not attacking other civilians for political cause. And that's terrorism. That's what terrorism is. You have to attack civilians for a political cause and not be a government entity. Well, none of that is true for any of these people, but they just throw these,
They just throw these words.
Had the nerve to call this man a domestic terrorist when he didn't even do anything. And that's what I'm saying. Did you have a warrant for his arrest? Is he who you were looking for? No. So what are we doing, and shoving a woman down? So we're just going to skip over masculinity and chivalry and general, how we should act as humans.
Decency.
Not only
we're going to skip over decency,
but then to put on a uniform and get paid to be better than decent and still not show decency.
Yeah.
Come on, y'all. I think we could. I want to see them tried, and I am curious to see where it would land, though, because they could get off. I mean, they could. We know how trials are.
Yeah.
And
Trump would pardon them.
And what would And what would we see down the road on that, though? Because we know how these big trials lead to protests and lead to riots and lead to, civil unrest, whatever we want to call it. But it seems like there's a lot in the chamber there looking ahead. And I hope this doesn't just get swept under the rug. There has to be, somebody's got to pay a price for this. Because we shouldn't have had to watch that happen.
No, I would like to see the federal government get sued and like
his family at least get paid.
Yeah.
But I think those 2 officers who shot him should go to jail.
Absolutely.
I mean, there was no, you're standing 2 feet from somebody who's not a threat to you.
10 rounds.
And you unleash 10 rounds? What's the threat? What are you doing?
Like, why did you do that?
It seemed, out of anger and vindictiveness, but it really looked to me like it was opportunistic. It looked to me like they've had this conversation, almost like, oh, it's a free pass. Because as soon as they yell gun, regardless of the fact that the dude took the gun and ran away with it,
they were shooting.
All of them cleared. And they cleared in a way that looked like they were in agreement. Oh, we're going to shoot him. And you're looking right at the guy. He's not holding the gun. And he's not a threat. And y'all were all just beating his ass. And then you unleash 10 rounds into him. Absolutely sickening. Absolutely sickening. That's not how it works. And again, it's the United States of America. We were founded against this idea that the government can't just come in and do whatever the hell they want to you.
Yeah.
None of these folks are undocumented immigrants.
Yeah.
They don't have warrants for any of these people.
And so it kind of goes back to you talking about them being untrained and like, what are they as a force? And, that point is crucial here because they're not acting like a force. They're acting like individuals who have been given license
to do whatever they want.
And
that's unfortunate because you see what happens from it. And then again, if you're going to give a budget to ICE that's 3 times that of NASA, man, y'all should be using a teleporter to send undocumented immigrants out. You shouldn't just be sending thugs with guns. You should just see them in the street and be like, zap them. And then they just show up on the other side of the border.
But this raises
you see what I'm saying? Yeah. How much money are you spending?
But this raises a good point. Like, if it's that well funded and you're just going getting everybody you can and recruiting them and paying them, it looks like you're kind of raising a personal army.
It does. It looks a lot like it.
I'm going to stay on that. Yeah.
Well, and at least it seems like they're not pushing back. It's not like you're hearing anything internally from these ICE officers who are like, well, I'm not sure we should act this way. No. I haven't heard anything like that.
Because it hasn't come down from Trump. It hasn't come down from the higher ups.
They're just following the orders, right? They're just doing what they were supposed to do. Now, granted.
And so you would ask those guys, if you're watching, like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Is this the America you want us to be in?
And what happens down the road when you've got a cause and the other political side is doing something? Now you're like, oh, I dare them to come after me. I've got my guns. You know what I mean? You're going to be on that side of it like they'll never come and do anything.
It doesn't take a whole lot of imagination to figure out where this goes.
Zero imagination. But that's always been the problem. It's like folks can't just look at someone else and say that could be me. Yeah. Instead, they're like,
we talk about this all the time.
That person's on the other political side. It could never be me. I'm trying to win.
I'm in the right. I'm always in the right.
Morons, absolute morons and deplorable, horrific people who can't just look at another human and say that could be me. That's all I ever ask for from anybody is say, hey, that could happen to you. So maybe you don't want this junk to be happening, right? Instead of, as long as it's my side doing it, it's okay. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. They murdered that man. So, coming out, I saw where, I don't know if you saw this, but U.S. Representative Ilhan Omar in Minneapolis.
I did.
Some dude ran up on her with a syringe and sprayed something at her.
Yeah.
They said it had a strong vinegar smell. And so, I mean, I guess it sounds like it was maybe just something nasty or dirty, not an actual, chemical agent or something that was going to, do any harm. But man, what
are we doing? Once again, it's like, what are we doing, people?
Yeah, I mean, somebody got killed in this city and she's speaking out against the president and against ICE. And now here comes this dude. Now, this dude's got a couple DUIs and has had some problems. And is obviously crazy.
He's an idiot.
I mean, we all got to look at the people around us and say, hey, stop talking crazy. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. That stuff's got to stop.
I mean, some respect for the office. She was elected.
I mean, she could have been attacked and injured and killed or hurt.
Absolutely.
I mean, this stuff is nasty.
This is what we don't want.
We've seen these things happening.
Yeah, this
so
is
it's
exactly
like,
what we don't want.
You got to stop. So earlier we were, way more lighthearted because this is hilarious to me. I wanted you to watch this AI video of Amelia. I wanted you to see.
All right. Oh, sweet.
Because someone fed it to Grok and said, this is who she is, and I'll make a video of it.
Hi, I'm Amelia. I'm English, and I love England.
Oh, man,
I like having fish and chips and a pint at the local pub.
I'm glad you told me. Let me fix it. Here we go. Oh, we'll put her. I'm glad you said something because now I got to make it big, right? Got to make it big.
Make it big.
Where is it here? I got it. I got too many buttons is my problem. Where are you, button? Here we go. All right, let's get her up there. Let's back her up.
Hi, I'm Amelia. I'm English, and I love England. I like having fish and chips and a pint at the local pub. I like Shakespeare and Dickens, Tolkien and Lewis, Harry Potter. I like pork, sausage, and dogs, and fashion.
Haram! Haram!
But I don't like that. Brits are famously polite, but it mustn't mean we're willing to commit cultural suicide. Our institutions, the Church of England, the BBC, are a bunch of queers and nonces. How the bloody hell do...
Oh man, let it keep going.
No, that's where the video ended for whatever reason, but it's really amusing, right?
Yeah.
Like I was like, that's pretty funny. And it raises that question of sort of who gets to defend their culture. You know, and it does feel like in Western culture, particularly with white people, if you defend your culture, you're a bigot and a racist and, you know, you don't believe in diversity or whatever. But if you go around the world and you find pockets of cultures that maybe are being influenced by outsiders, oftentimes the same people would want to protect them. You know, if the Inuit are suddenly having all their lands bought out from under them, then you're going to be like, oh, you can't do that. You got to protect their culture.
All right. So is this a problem of a broad generalization? Is this a problem of white? You know, because
it is.
Because if I could defend England, not as a white person, but as an American, and been like, hey, I don't like seeing England overrun with too many people that aren't English because I want England to be able to keep its English character.
It's an island.
And then I could say the same thing about France. France could say the same thing about Germany.
It's also the same thing Japan would say about itself.
Absolutely.
I mean,
and I can say that about Japan. I could be like, hey, I don't want to see Japan ruined.
Japan says it. Japan is very nationalistic. They don't
always have been.
They don't
They've
like
got a long history of
immigration.
that.
Yeah, they're like, we are an island. We can't be bringing in people and changing our culture.
Right.
But you know, we don't really get into condemning Japan in that way.
No, I mean, it's
like you said, it seems to have some attachment to the generalization around whiteness. It's almost like people read history and kind of pick up on this and make it seem like, well, white people went out and took over everything and they run everything. And no one talks about like, well, what about the Middle East and go to Saudi Arabia or you go to United Arab Emirates? These are cultures.
Oh man, and I'm on my boy Durant, the Reformation right now, and he goes into, you know, the expansion of Islam. You talk about the greatest expansion of all time.
Going from nothing to everywhere.
I mean, from Tehran to Vienna.
And why wouldn't a country be able to say, hey, that's not who we are? And instead telling them, no, that's who you have to be and you're horrible if you don't. It's just a weird thing to me. I understand if people start like with Trump, you know, he wants to say, oh, these are shithole countries and these people suck. That's that's not the point. No. That's not the point at all. The point is to say if you, in the United States.
No, they could be very lovely people
over where they're from. And the United States is different because it is a melting.
Don't mean to sound like a bigot there.
Well, but the United States is a melting pot, and so it's different. And the United States is built,
and that's the promise of the United States.
That's the promise of the United States, but that's not the promise of England. It's not the promise of France
or Germany or Denmark.
You know, there are places where people say, "Oh, Switzerland." And why Switzerland's not going to allow a bunch of people to immigrate there.
If you're looking at the demographics of it all, in the United States, there's over 300 million people. Man, in Norway and Denmark, there's like 30 million people. So if you're letting in, you know, so the numbers are smaller, the ratios are smaller for the influence.
It doesn't take as much to influence and change your culture, change your politics.
Exactly.
And if you like your culture,
you got to look out for it.
I mean, take Greenland, which we've been talking about all this time. There's 55,000 people there. Now, how are folks going to act if somebody like the United States says, oh, we're going to send 100,000 people there and be able to outvote them and take over their country? You're going to be like, you can't do that.
You can't do that.
Well, you know, so is it okay for someone in England to say, hey, I like British culture and I don't want it to be changed? That's the question.
I know.
It's a question is all I'm saying.
Man,
and that's where that Amelia meme has kind of gotten into, you know?
I mean, I like her.
It's funny. I think she has some other opinions that may not be as good, but that one was pretty good. And that one's pretty, it's just funny, you know? I like pork sausages and dogs. It's like, that sounds pretty British to me. She said they're so polite that they'll just commit cultural suicide. And it's like, man.
Yeah, don't be that polite.
In some ways, it seems like it's heading there. But that's all I had. And it is something to walk away thinking about is what it means for someone to be nationalistic. And can you be nationalistic without being an asshole?
Right.
You don't have to condemn other people. You just have to say,
is nationalistic automatically a bad word? It doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be unless you start blaming other people for everything. And
a lot of times when people of the West, when white people are defending somebody else's nationalism, it's okay. It's great.
It's okay when it's other people, but when it's you, it's not. But I mean, that's the thing is if people from the United States go and say, Mexico's open for business, we're going to go buy up all this land, and all of a sudden Mexico's full of white people. There are people who are going to lament that. Absolutely. They're going to say, Mexico's culture is getting messed up. You got all these, yuppies or whatever from California. And
they're already saying it for sure.
You see what I'm saying? So all of a sudden it's bad in this scenario, but it's not bad in another scenario. And all I'm saying is keep it fair. Like try to look at it in a bigger picture. I think culture is what makes humans special. You get to go around the world and say, look at this culture, look at that culture, look at this culture. And if you say everybody can move everywhere and do whatever they want, there's going to come a day where you say there is no culture.
And now, so in some ways, there are people that are already lamenting this, because I was reading an article the other day, just breezing through it, but there was an article, probably the Atlantic, but it said the world is drowning in tourism.
Yeah.
And that has kind of the same effect when there's so many people that go to these places to where the place you are visiting is no longer that place because there's so many people there.
Well, but it gets funny. It gets funny because there's also a way of trapping a place in time because of tourism.
Right.
Look at Hawaii. Now
Venice,
Hawaiians have no reason to go out on the beach and have a luau.
No.
If time passes on its own, they eventually would be like, why are we doing that? We're not wearing straw dresses. Right. But because the tourists come and that was a part of their culture, they now relive and commodify that culture for the tourists.
Right.
Is that their culture?
Or is that the tourist culture?
Or is it, the commodification of what used to be their culture, which now doesn't allow their culture to change and grow to something new?
So you've kind of frozen their culture
in time and commodified it, which sort of hollows it out in a way and makes it not as legit.
It's definitely not authentic. Authentic is a nice catchword because everybody's looking for the authentic.
But if you're passing down traditions that you would have stopped passing down because now they make money, then is that a good thing? Yeah, I don't know, because traditions are culture, right?
Right.
I don't know. It's messy. Yeah, it's a lot of layers to it. We study that stuff in communication studies a lot, where it's just like, once you commodify it, is it worth it? What does it mean?
Yeah.
Because you can go over to Appalachia right now and have people sell you wicker baskets.
Right.
Is that their culture?
Right.
They come from wicker people.
But it's
it's a bunch of people who didn't even live there.
But the people that are complaining about tourism, they're making the same complaint that Amelia is making.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, they're saying like, "Hey, with all these people here, we can't be ourselves."
Yeah, and it's worse. It's worse than tourism is when people come and stay
right.
and have a vote and have kids and stuff.
I think that's there's peak tourism season in places like Venice, but it's year round.
Oh yeah. Well, there's places like you said where people can't even, and even here in the United States, there's little places like what was the Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah.
Where there's only a few thousand people who live there. But boy, you hit the summertime and all them tourists come in and it's 50,000, 100,000.
Bald Head Island, North Carolina.
It's out of hand. Yeah. And it's like, well, did that place ever have a culture? If not, then okay.
Was it worth saving?
Yeah, but if it did, then what happened to it? Did it become commodified? Now they sell it to you when you show up, or is it just eaten up and gone? And do we just have to read about it in books?
Yeah, man, this is deep. Amelia raises some good questions.
She's very interesting. I appreciate my homeboy sent me that. He's like, have you seen this? I was like, I saw a couple of pictures, but I didn't really dig in. And I was like, oh, that is hilarious. Yeah. I was like, there's something to that. A purple-haired goth extremist. The government called her an extremist. I'm like, maybe the government should back off of that a little bit. Let people figure out what they like and don't like on their own, because you're going to create them extremists.
So maybe this is like the 5-level chess where they send that out there and they'd be like, don't act like this. But really what they're telling you is like, hey.
They're like, the kids are going to love this. The kids are going to love this.
This is it.
I didn't see how she was described in the video game, being like, she's a beautiful girl. You know, like maybe they got into some details. People were like, I like that, you know? And they're like, we thought you might like that. But she's a horrible person. She's a horrible person and you shouldn't.
And then now there's.
Oh, well.
But she just misunderstood.
Yeah, the cat's out the bag now.
Oh.
Is she just really a patriot?
Yeah.
You know, it's a thin line. You got anything else?
That's it, man.
That's all. That's all I got. Yeah, you know, it wasn't that in depth, but I think it in and out, get in and out, people. Just, you know, so keep watching. We appreciate every view we get. Comment for us, man. Tell us what you think. Otherwise, be good to yourself. Be good to everybody around you. Peace out.
Be sure.
Where's my logo?